Steel has a story that most people never hear. An 82-year-old World War II helmet sits on a workshop table, dark, matte, flawless. Not a single speck of rust. Beside it, a modern tactical helmet, barely 5 years old, already shows corrosion creeping beneath the paint. One endured the fury of D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge. The other hasn't even left a climate-controlled warehouse. How does steel made in 1943 still look invincible while yours crumbles after a few years? The secret isn't magic. It's chemistry, engineering, and a mindset that treated durability as non-negotiable. Stick around, and we'll break down the exact techniques that made World War II steel almost indestructible, and why today's materials often fail so fast. The first trick was manganese phosphate. Modern coatings sit on top of metal like a thin sticker. World War II steel was treated from the inside out. Helmets were dunked in a hot manganese phosphate bath around 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 to 6 hours. During this time, the surface of the steel itself transformed. Iron atoms swapped places with manganese, creating a crystalline layer bonded directly to the metal. It wasn't paint, it became part of the helmet. The crystals overlapped like roof tiles, leaving tiny holes between them, which were later filled with oil to create an invisible shield. Rust needs electricity to form, tiny currents running across wet metal. Manganese phosphate completely blocked those currents. Soldiers tested helmets with salt spray, which is honestly one of the most corrosive elements for steel. Modern coatings would fail in just 2 days, but these helmets survived 1,000 hours with 0 rust. Nothing worked without precision, and that's where phosphoric acid came in. This chemical controlled the bath, keeping the water at the perfect acidity. If it was too acidic, the steel would be eaten away. But if it was too basic, the crystals formed too slowly, leaving weak, ineffective coatings. Military technicians, constantly tested and adjusted the bath, making sure every helmet got the exact same treatment. It was kind of like baking bread. You can't just throw flour in the oven. The right balance really mattered. A helmet that came out with uneven coating could honestly develop rust decades later. This acid also cleaned the steel, removing grease or dirt so the manganese phosphate stuck perfectly. Every helmet leaving the factory had a flawless, rust-resistant surface because of constant monitoring. Manganese phosphate works naturally, but slow. Factories couldn't wait 8 to 12 hours for each batch. Sodium nitrite doubled the speed, cutting the process to 4 to 6 hours. Small amounts accelerated the atomic swap between iron and manganese, keeping production efficient while maintaining strength. Too much, and the coating would become powdery. Too little, and the reaction lagged. It also helped precipitate dissolved iron, keeping the bath clean. By 1944, the United States was producing 40,000 helmets per day, all treated with this precise, almost alchemical process. Once the steel helmet was formed, it wasn't just left to cool. It was red-hot, glowing at 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, and plunged into paraffinic mineral oil. Water cools steel too fast, creating tiny cracks that allow rust to form from the inside out. Oil cools evenly, producing tightly packed metal grains resistant to cracking. This slow quench gave helmets flexibility without brittleness. Paraffinic oil could withstand high heat and was filtered constantly to remove scale, maintaining its protective properties. Hot steel in oil is a recipe for chemical chaos. Phenolic compounds acted like molecular firefighters, preventing the oil from breaking down during quenching. Without them, the oil would degrade after only a few helmets. With them, it could handle hundreds. Aromatic amines tackled a separate problem, peroxide formation in the oil during cooler periods. Together, these additives created an oil environment that stayed consistent, keeping every helmet quenched perfectly, batch after batch. The result was steel with minimal internal stress, resistant to warping or rust even after decades. Chemical coatings only go so far without physical protection. That's where paraffin wax came in. After helmets were treated and still warm, they were dipped in cosmoline, a blend of paraffin wax and other oils. The liquid wax flowed into every pore and crack, then solidified as the helmet cooled. It formed a barrier no water or oxygen could penetrate. Helmets stored in barns for 75 years have been found with this wax intact and the steel underneath, well, flawless. The wax was hydrophobic, chemically stable, and it perfectly sealed the tiny holes left by the manganese phosphate layer. This combination of chemical and physical protection was really unmatched. Even tiny amounts of water left on steel could, ruin years of protection. Light petroleum distillate pushed any residual moisture away before the wax solidified. It also thinned the cosmoline, allowing it to reach every rib, curve and tight corner of a helmet. Coating slightly damp equipment was never a problem. The distillate made the application faster, cleaner and far more reliable. Every part of the helmet, inside and out, got complete coverage. Was World War II steel invincible? Well, not exactly. Shipwrecks and, other extreme cases show it could definitely corrode. But critical military steel was built with zero tolerance for failure. Now, modern steel isn't weaker. Actually, advanced alloys in jet engines or surgical tools are far superior. The real difference is philosophy. These days, cost and efficiency often take priority over longevity. Back then, World War II steel was designed to survive extreme conditions. Because, honestly, failure just wasn't an option. Rusting cars or cheap tactical helmets today don't have that same mandate. The steel wasn't magical. It was intentional, engineered for survival, using every trick chemistry and engineering could offer. Every helmet, rifle, tool and ammo box was treated with the same rigorous approach. High-quality raw materials, brute force engineering, precise chemical processes, and a national mindset that prioritized durability all came together to create steel that didn't just last for years. It lasted for decades. The knowledge wasn't lost. It was simply reserved for extreme applications where the cost was justified. For the everyday world, faster, cheaper methods eventually took over. World War II steel isn't legendary because it never rusted, but because it was engineered to survive anything thrown at it, from bullets to decades of neglect. The lesson is pretty clear. When durability is prioritized over cost, materials endure. That's the mindset behind steel that outlasts generations, not just years. If you found this fascinating and want more forgotten secrets from the war front, go ahead and subscribe to the Forgotten War Fronts and share this video with anyone who loves history that's as practical as it is mind-blowing.